You clicked on this video because you know it's true. You have all these goals for yourself, all these ambitions, all these high standards for yourself. But because you know you really don't have what it takes to succeed, because you know and you're afraid of actually putting in the work, you're lazy, you get overwhelmed by anxiety all the time, you're what we call a lazy perfectionist. And I'm not here to judge you, because that was the story of my life for 3 years. I would every single day have all this motivation, all this hype to actually start a business, be successful, and all this crazy stuff. But then when it was time to actually put in the work, I didn't show up. And I'm not judging you once again, I'm just here to actually help you, because I was able to overcome this in a matter of just a few months and just 3 simple steps. So if you actually want to overcome lazy perfectionism without having to do anything complicated, because let's be real, we don't want to, as lazy perfectionists, we don't want to do anything complex or hard, so to say. So if that's you and you relate to that and you want to be able to overcome this, stick to the end of this video, because I'm going to explain the entire thing right now. Now, for you to actually be able to overcome lazy perfectionism, you need to understand where does it come from. Now, the things that I list right here in this video aren't 100% certain. For some people, it could be a bit more different, but for my personal experience, this is how it was exactly. So number one, I always did very good in school, but I never really actually excelled, right? During high school and even during primary school, because I'm in the French system, right? Everything was great, right? Like I never got like any crazy grades, but I always did enough to pass the classes, right? And because I always had this confidence in myself that I am smart enough to pass the classes, I always did pass the classes, right? But I never really strived for more because I was okay where I was at. So I was very comfortable. Keep that in mind. Number two, I had a lot of high expectations from my parents growing up. For some people, this could be teachers or a father figure, whatever it is, but for me, it was mostly my parents. My parents from a very young age, always told me that I am the head and not the tail. And first things first, like shout out to my parents, because the intention and the idea of it in and of itself is a very healthy one. But that didn't have a very positive effect on me on the long term, because I had all this expectation not only for myself now, but also for my parents, because I understand that, okay, if I actually don't perform, if I don't do good in school, in church, or at home, then I'm not gonna get what I want. Either would it be their approval, their love, or simply being accepted, so to say. And this brings me to point number 3, right? I was actually very afraid of their judgment or being disapproved, because as a black child, my parents are Dominican and I do consider myself black. So a lot of black people can definitely relate to this. As a black child growing up, you definitely don't wanna, what's what I'm looking for? Disappoint your parents, because you know that they sacrificed a lot to be where they are right now, especially if your parents are immigrants, just like mine were. You really want to put in the work because you know that they sacrificed a lot, and they make sure that you understand that, hey, I could have been somewhere completely different, but because I love you, I choose to do all of these sacrifices so that you can have a better future. And I learned that at a very young age, and actually I always wanted to do good at all times, everywhere, so I don't disappoint them. I didn't want to get judged or get punished or anything, because trust me, when my parents actually got mad with me, they wouldn't go to the extent of like hitting me and all that crazy stuff. They would just punish me, like ground me. And I used to go out a lot when I was a child, and the fact that I couldn't go outside just because I didn't do good in school or whatever it was, really it hurt way more than actually getting hit with a belt, for example. But essentially, step number 4 is, this can come from as well if you were raised in a very strict or overprotective or controlling environment. So once again, this comes back to your parents, right? So in my case, my parents weren't 100% super strict and controlling, but because once again, everything they did was with a very good intention, right? Which I respect and I appreciate them for it. But they weren't letting me loose too easily, right? So they would always make sure that there was some discipline in the household, and I was actually doing my homework, I was actually doing what I had to do. And it didn't feel like they were hounding on me like a helicopter, but it did feel like, listen, you better do good, because I don't want you to end up like a homeless guy on the street, and I want you to actually be a good kid in the future, right? So this expectation that they had for me, and them actually protecting and kind of being strict and disciplined about everything that I do in my life, had an effect on me on the long term, because I actually started becoming very self-critical, very aware of what I should and what I should not do, and I actually translated into me overthinking everything in the future. Right, and I'll also touch on that in a few. So now that we're done and we kind of understand, or at least I hope you understand where this really comes from, let's move on to the common symptoms of lazy perfectionism. Number 1, just like I said earlier, you overthink everything. Now, in my case, I didn't overthink everything, but I had a very bad habit of overthinking. And I'm one of those people that believe that overthinking can be something very positive if you use it the right way. For example, if you are overthinking to anticipate negative scenarios that could possibly happen, and then based off that information, you prepare yourself so you can avoid those negative situations, then I believe that that's a good way of overthinking. But if you're overthinking just for the sake of overthinking and is not serving you in no way, shape, or form, it's just like a bunch of negative thoughts, you should get rid of it. And when I mean overthinking, this can also apply to planning things, right? As a lazy perfectionist, we fall in the bad habit of wanting to plan everything out, have everything ready, write it down, watch all the videos, the tutorials, have all the information, but then we never actually take action because of this fear of, oh, it's not going to be super good enough, I'm not going to get the approval of whoever it is that you're trying to look approval for. It's crazy. So I highly suggest that if you really want to be able to overcome lazy perfectionism, start changing your mindset about overthinking. Avoid being super negative about it. Try having a positive perspective about overthinking. And then from there, you'll see how you actually start making more money, become more successful and more productive overall. Number 2, you're afraid of starting. Like just like me, like for years, for I want to say like maybe 3 to 4 years, I've been wanting to start a business for so long. And I didn't actually start this and go all in until like 2023, right? So all of the years before that, like 3, 4 years before that, I had this ambition, I had this goal of at least doing content online or starting some sort of online business or whatever it is, because I saw everybody else doing it, really connected with me, right? Because I also want to be able to provide for my parents and be able to actually get their approval and make them proud of that good stuff. And I feel like an online business was a way of getting there. And I had this ambition of like starting a business and doing all this crazy stuff for my family. But for 3 years straight, all I did was procrastinate, plan, and never executed on anything because I was afraid of starting. I was afraid of the fact that I know that once I start the work, I can't really stop. I have to stay consistent. And I was very comfortable with being lazy. That's one of the things that a lot of people that are lazy perfectionists, we don't really understand, right? Like we understand it, we're maybe aware of it, but not enough to actually do something about it. And that's one thing that I noticed with lazy perfectionism is that overall, you're a pretty smart person. Like you have a very good IQ. You know the difference between instant gratification and long-term satisfaction. But some way, somehow, you know that you doing the task, you're putting in the work is actually going to get you further, but you just don't do it. And it's crazy. It's a very specific symptom that I still haven't been able to put my foot down on it and what's really the cause of it. But I have a few ideas, right? But essentially, number 2, you're just afraid of starting, right? Whether it be a business, whether it be a project, a hobby, or even just like regular day-to-day tasks, because you're so afraid and overwhelmed of the amount of work that you need to get done, you just get super anxious and you don't do anything and you just go back to square one of just procrastinating, right? And it's never a good feeling because you don't trust yourself anymore, which I'm gonna talk about in a few. Number 3, procrastination disguised as productivity. So a lot of times we think that preparing and planning and getting everything ready and getting the equipment and watching the videos and taking notes is actually putting in the work when it's really not. Because one thing is being in motion and another thing is actually moving forward, right? That is one thing that I actually learned in the book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, if I'm not mistaken. He explains how it makes us feel good mentally, like it releases a lot of dopamine in our head, knowing that we're doing something that is, contributing to our business, right? Whether it be the education or whatever project that we have, we want to feel like, we're moving forward because we're preparing, but that's not really the job. That's not really the work. The work is actually putting in the work. Whatever task you need to put in, just do it. Don't procrastinate on it or think like you're being productive by learning or trying to get education and waiting for the book to arrive or whatever it is, and just procrastinate. You're just stalling on it because you're kind of overwhelmed the amount of work that you need to put in. And my only advice for that is that stop lying to yourself. Stop being a hypocrite and actually put the work in. Nobody's coming to save you. Only you can actually accomplish those goals and high expectations that you have for yourself. And this is something that I needed to hear when I was a lazy perfectionist. Number 4, the perfectionist mentality. So all or nothing / having high expectations. The reason why I add this in there on this list is because a lot of people have this negative connotation in their mind, this limiting belief that if it's not perfect, if it's not up to my standards, it's not worth doing. And you know that perfectionism isn't a good thing. You know that there's no such thing as perfect besides God. And you just want to so bad make it look so good, not for yourself, but for other people. because you know that your relationship with yourself is not even 100%. So you want other people's approval, you want other people to feel like, oh yeah, you are the man. Well, you're really not the man, because you can only be the man if in your mind and in your inner relationship with yourself, you are that guy. So essentially what I'm trying to say is that because you want everything to look so clean and so polished, because of all the things that we spoke about before, like the approval, the fear of judgment, the fear of starting, and all these crazy things that come back to our childhood, you want everything to look perfect. And if it's not going to be perfect, you don't want to do it. But the only thing is that if your goal is growth, if your goal is self-improvement, this is not the right mindset to have, because the goal here is to fail as much as possible, is to make as much mistakes as possible so that you can learn. A lot of times when you have a fixed mindset, you don't really understand how can you become better. And the thing is, perfectionism, once again, it just doesn't exist. There's no such thing as perfect. You can only get near perfection by actually putting in the work and trying. You can get to that level of perfection once you're trying, you're putting in the work, and then you review it. Every single week, the whatever amount of work that you put in, like on a Sunday, you write it down, okay, I did this, I did that, and you review it. You just look at it, you analyze it. Are you satisfied with that? If you're not satisfied, next week, you just make it better. And every single week, whether it be 5% or 1% or 10%, you just try to make it better and better. And you're slowly going to start getting to the standard of perfection. Because once again, this standard of perfection that you have is self-imposed. Because other people, I can probably promise you that they will be so proud of themselves if they were even able to put the foot forward. So just be that person and put the foot forward and actually put in the work. Number 5, self-doubt and imposter syndrome. I heard a guy once say, that essentially for you to actually make 10K per month, it's not about what you do, but who you need to become to actually make 10K per month. Because there's so many people making 10K per month with dropshipping or SMMA or trading or all these other different business models. And it's not really about the business, it's about who they are as a person. Because the business is the vehicle, but who you are as a person is the driver. So until you have a strong relationship with yourself of trust, of respect, of confidence and love, and you feel like, you know what, I actually am capable of driving this car, that's when you move forward. That's when you actually get the growth and all of the success that you're looking for. And you're probably watching this and you're thinking, but okay, bro, like, okay, I want to get the car going. I want to actually put the foot on the gas, but I don't think I know how to drive. And the thing is, it's not about you learning how to drive at first. You just need to put the foot on the gas, and then throughout your experiences and the actions that you take, that's how you learn. Because one thing is just learning, right? You just got the information, and another thing is you actually getting knowledge. Knowledge is information combined with action and experiences. And it's not until you actually get an emotional connection with an audience, with an action, that you actually are able to not only learn but also grow along the way. And it's normal. A lot of times you feel like you need to be an expert, like you need to know all the information. And you don't really have to, because we have things such as AI that can give you all the information and really guide you if you have any lack in your knowledge. But the goal here is not to be perfect. The goal is to just start, because when we start, when we actually put in the work, that's when we actually get to grow, to improve, and get closer to our goal. Because every single day that you procrastinate, that you don't put the work in, you're just moving yourself further and further from actually getting to that goal. I'm one of those firm believers that in life, you either move forward or you're moving backwards. There's no such thing as being stagnant or being stuck. So the moment you're procrastinating and you're not moving forward, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Because if you have such high standards for yourself, why are you not putting in the work? And I understand, because I went through the entire thing as well. Like, I understand how it feels like. It's overwhelming. You get anxious. You just don't understand. You feel like you're lost. You feel like you need somebody to kind of kick you in the balls and give you direction. But that's not what you need. What you need is to have a solid relationship, a solid foundation with yourself of trust and confidence. Because how many times have you ever told yourself, yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and then the next day you don't do it? What's happening in your subconscious mind is that your mind keeps thinking, okay, we said we was going to do this, but we're not doing it. So I can't even trust myself. And you don't want that, because if you really want to grow, if you really want to get to your goals, the first person you should be able to trust is yourself. And if you can't even trust yourself, other people cannot help you, other people cannot respect you, and other people will not trust you because you don't even have that for yourself. And this brings me to the next point, which is a lot of times as a lazy perfectionist, we tend to prioritize motivation over discipline, right? A lot of times it's 2 a.m., 3 a.m., we watch that TikTok, it's super motivational, we get like this rush, this fire in our belly, we want to get going. We start doing push-ups, we start going crazy, and I relate to that. I've been to that so many times in my life, but at some point, you need to get tired of it. Like, you're way too comfortable. Like, the reason why you keep doing this over and over again, and this cycle of motivation, and then you drop back down, and then motivation, you drop back down, is because you have no discipline. You're way too comfortable. And a lot of people think that discipline is doing things that you hate. And us, as lazy perfectionists, we don't like doing something that we don't want. Like, we know what we want to do, and that's how we know how to manage our energy. Because if you don't want to do homework, you're going to find a way to get it done as fast as possible, so you can actually focus on things that actually matter. And just the fact that you have that mindset should actually help you understand your purpose in life, or what is it that you really thrive for in life. Because you'll naturally know what you're drawn to and what you're not drawn to. Because the things that you're good at or that you generally like, you're going to spend hours on end on it without necessarily thinking about the time. But back to the main point that I was saying, you need discipline. And discipline is not about just doing what you hate all the time. It's about rewarding yourself for putting in the work consistently, right? So whether it be a massage, or you play video games for an extra hour, or a conversation with your girl, or you go to the movies, or you buy yourself something nice, whatever it is that you know in your mind is going to be a self-rewarding system, you need it absolutely. Because every single week, once you put in the work and you reward yourself for it, your brain is going to want to do it over and over again. Because think about it, the only reason why you keep scrolling on TikTok, and the only reason why you keep procrastinating, is because your brain is used to it. And your brain will only be used to it if it actually likes it. So you need to now train your brain to like putting in the work, and you do that by rewarding yourself. So let go of motivation, because motivation doesn't last. You have clearly experienced it in your life, so why keep relying on it? Become disciplined, even if it's just 5 minutes, 10 minutes of work every single day. Just put in the work, and you'll be thankful for it. A few days later, a few months later, you're going to be happy that you put in the work. And lastly, the last reason why I believe that you have lazy perfectionism is because of instant gratification / dopamine overdose. Every single day you're on social media, scrolling probably for hours. You're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. You're just switching between apps at times. And if you ever get bored, you just hop on Netflix, or you just play video games for hours as well. And all you're doing is just giving your brain just easy win, just easy dopamine all the time. And then whenever you have to actually do something that's not super dopamine inducing, you're not gonna want to do it. And it's natural, right? And that's why I actually challenged myself to spend an entire month without listening to music. I challenged myself an entire month to not watching any movies. I spent an entire month without playing video games, because I had to train myself to actually like putting in the work. Because if you have all these distractions, if you have all these dopamine devices actually inducing your dopamine all the time, you're gonna want to keep doing it. But if you just sit down and like, you know what, I'm gonna get rid of all of this, what am I gonna do now? Because like, once you get rid of all the distractions, you have nothing else to do than to work. So that's when you actually start enjoying the work, because you have nothing else to do than work. So a lot of people tend to ask me like, yo bro, how do you spend 2, 3, 4 hours a day working consistently? Like, how do you do this every single day? And it's like, bro, I have nothing else to do than work. When you have all these distractions and other things in your mind, like music, like movies, like video games, like overwhelming girlfriend, like all these things are distractions stopping you from getting close to your goal. Your priority should be your goal, and you having this trust with yourself. You can only get there by actually putting in the work. So get rid of the distractions. And that doesn't mean that you can't watch social media, that you can't scroll, that you can't play video games. You can, but you need to earn it. You need to deserve it. Once you put in the work, let's say you put in 1 hour of work, 2 hours of work, whatever it is, then you can allow yourself for an extra 30 minutes, 40 minutes to scroll on Instagram if that's what you like, or play video games. But you need to deserve it. If you're not putting in the work, you shouldn't look at any device that is going to actually get you like a high dopamine. I know I've been going on for quite some time, so how do we actually fix this? Number one, read Atomic Habits. I actually have the book right here holding my phone right now as I record a video. It is a great book. Everything that you ever thought you needed, like all the information you ever got online that never actually helped you, Atomic Habits is going to help you condense everything into one, and you're going to be able to apply it to your life. So much of the topics and the things that I mentioned in this video are actually inside Atomic Habits. So please, if you're actually serious about accomplishing your goals in 2025, not for me, not for your mom, but for yourself, read Atomic Habits, whether it be the audiobook, the free PDF online, or you actually buy the physical one. Please do it. Read the entire thing, take notes, read it 2 times, 3 times. You're actually gonna be so grateful that you did. It's such an easy read, I highly recommend it. Another book that might be very interesting is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Now, I didn't add it here on the list because it's kind of off topic, but if you're somebody that actually believes in the metaphysical world / spiritual world, and you know that there's something deeper than just what we see right here, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind is a great book to help you understand how your mind actually works and kind of how to hack it so you can actually become successful and become the person that you actually want to become. Number 2, you want to build a relationship of trust with yourself. Once again, I say this so importantly. This is so important because if you do not have a relationship with yourself, where you feel like, I said something, I'm going to get it done. If you don't have that, it's going to be very hard for you to accomplish your goals, because if you don't have a team or some sort of coach kind of guiding you and giving you the things that you need to do, it's going to be very hard for you to actually have that own discipline with yourself and doing your own list. Your own to-do list, your own plannings. You're not going to be able to follow through with it because you don't even trust yourself. Every single time that you say that you're going to do something, you didn't do it, you keep telling your mind that you're not worthy of it, that you actually don't deserve the success because you don't even trust yourself. And as a man, the only thing that you have is your balls and your words. And I highly suggest that even if it's just 5 minutes, even if it's just 10 minutes, or a simple small task, whatever you say you're going to do it. If you know it's going to be too hard, then don't do it, but just start making it easy and simple for yourself. Just start with the easy, small little steps of trusting yourself. If you say that you're going to take a shower at 9 p.m., take a shower at 9 p.m. If you say that you're going to wake up at 9 a.m., wake up at 9 a.m. Even if it drags you, even if it hurts, the simple fact that you did it, now you have that confidence in yourself. You're slowly building that confidence that, you know what, I said I was going to do something, and I actually got it done. And the confidence and trust that you're going to have with yourself once you get it done is out of this world. The confidence that you were missing and all of the anxiety and overwhelming that you were feeling when you have to get the job done, it just disappears because now you are different. You see yourself in a different way because you know what? I said it, I always get it done. And now you have a proven track record that you actually can get it done. Even if it's just a small task, you know you can get it done. So just a matter of challenging yourself and actually getting the job done. Because who doesn't like a little challenge? And this comes to my next point, which is actually making it easy and simple. As lazy perfectionists, we want to do things as quickly as possible, as fast as possible. So when you break things down in a way that are easy and digestible, you increase your chances of actually succeeding. Let me explain. Let's say, for example, when you really want to read a 500-page book, instead of you overwhelming yourself with the idea and becoming super anxious with the idea that you have to read a 500 pages long book, what you can simply do is reverse engineer it and set a plan of every single week / every single day. How many books are you comfortable reading that's actually going to get you closer to that goal? Even if it takes slightly longer than what you expected, just the simple fact that you're doing it for just 5 minutes, 5 pages or 10 pages is going to slowly start building that confidence in you to actually do the entire thing because, okay, I followed day 1, I followed day 2, I followed day 3. It was only 5 pages, only took me like 5 minutes. I can definitely do more. And then over time, you're gonna wanna do more and more and more and keep that streak going keep that consistency going because now you trust yourself. But you only got there because you made it easy and simple. So please, if you want to become a productivity genius, make it easy, make it simple, make it digestible. Number 4, just like I mentioned before in the video, please prioritize long-term satisfaction, long-term discipline over instant gratifications. The sole reason why you're watching this video and you're here trying to fix you being a lazy perfectionist is because you lack discipline. Every single day, even if it's just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, put in the work. Even what you should do is take a piece of paper, right? I'm gonna do it right here. I actually mentioned this in one of my videos. You take a piece of paper and you do like some sort of calendar, like a handmade calendar. You make like a handmade calendar. Okay, I ain't gonna lie, it looks pretty trash. But essentially, you do like a handmade calendar of every single day. And every single day that you get the job done, you exit. And the goal is for the entire page to be full of X's. And what this does is not only does it make you want to keep the streak going, but it also gives you confidence that you know what, this entire week I kept the streak going, I want to keep it going the next week and the week after that. Next thing you know, the entire page is filled and now you feel better about yourself. And remember the same thing that I said before, reward yourself. If you know that that week you were consistent and you put in the work, reward yourself. And no matter what shape or form it looks like, do it. I know this video was a bit long and I definitely ranted and went all over the place with this video, but this is because this is something that I'm actually passionate about because I was a lazy perfectionist literally 3 years ago. I hated my life. I was depressed. I did not trust myself at all. But now I'm in a position where not only can I provide for my family, I have a profitable passive business, but I can also live life on my own terms and travel whenever I want, how I want. If you're watching this video and you want to overcome lazy perfectionism, but also find an online business that actually matches and correlates with your personality and your character of being a lazy perfectionist, in other words, you just want a copy-paste business, then send me a DM on Instagram or book a free call with me one-on-one. We're going to have a conversation and see if I can actually help you achieve 5K per month passively within the next 120 days. And if you ever don't hit that goal within 120 days, I'm going to be working with you for free until you do. So if you actually want to get started, you actually want to live the life of your dreams and go through this entire process of self-transformation and also building an online business so you can live the life that you want, send me a DM or book a call with me, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.